Welcome to episode 10 of Inside the Teacher Studio. Tonight, my guest is Shmarafrantcheska Mitchell, and she is my Burkhalter bestie.
Yes.
I am so glad that she came on to grace us with her presence and to share everything about her. And so let's go ahead and get started. Oh, before we get started, if this is your first time here, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment as you go along. That's right, down below. And make sure you share this with your people. All right, hun. So I'd like you to first introduce yourself to the audience.
I am Shmarafrantcheska Mitchell. Shmarafrantcheska is one name.
Oh my goodness. I did not know I was saying your name wrong this whole time.
Oh no, Shmar. That's perfect because Shmarafrantcheska is too long. It's 17 letters. I go by Shmara. I was born and raised in Southern California, San Diego, but then I lived in LA for 9 or 10 years because I went to Cal State Long Beach, then moved to the South, following my boyfriend, now husband. His family's all from the South. So we lived in Atlanta 5 or 6 years, and then in Florida 12, 11 years. And then now I'm back in Cali, but in the Bay, Northern Cali.
Did you get your credential in Florida?
Florida.
Okay.
So I just turned in all my paperwork today to finally have it transferred. Because it took them forever to send me my verification of employment.
I don't want to talk about the dragging of the heels at the offices. It's ridiculous.
And the deal with Florida.
Well, look, that's a whole other conversation. Yes. Maybe it'll come up. Who knows? Okay, so what part of San Diego, since we're both from San Diego?
Point Loma.
Point Loma.
Yes, Point Loma High School.
That's where all the fishermen are.
Yes, the Portuguese.
The Portuguese, yes. I had plenty of classmate and really good friends because I went to an all-girls school in Normal Heights. So,
Whoopie?
Yep. Yeah. Old lady penitentiary.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we had kids from all over. So,
right.
Yeah, I had one of my really, really good friends. Her whole family is part of that whole Portuguese fisherman.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay, so my first question for you is, when did you fall in love with education?
See, I read that question and I try to think of there's not one moment where I'm like, oh, I freaking love education. But when I look back, I've always been, not to toot my horn, but always just been a high performing student. I got straight A's. I mean, I graduated summa cum laude.
Oh, wow.
With my bachelor. So I just always enjoyed learning, even though sometimes I'm it's stressful and I my master, I wanted to quit, but I just I want to go on and get my doctorate. And I just love it. I just love learning. And then I love teaching. I don't like that quote that says those who can't teach. And I'm just no.
No, absolutely not. Because I like to coach and I don't think it's because I can't teach. So
right.
Absolutely.
And teaching isn't for the faint of heart.
Absolutely not. I mean, the fact that they can sit there and talk about it so badly, but then would never step foot in a classroom is telling me, right?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your experiences as a young learner. You said it was always easy for you, did really well, but I want you to go back to elementary school.
Well, back in the day, I don't know what they call it now, but I got tested and was put in GATE, gifted and talented.
Yeah.
But also, I think it wasn't that it came easy, but my mom is an immigrant, first language Spanish. And so she couldn't really help with the homework. So I just, taught it to myself, learned it. I was I'm going to learn it. I'm going to do it. It wasn't that it came easy. I just was determined to I'm going to do it and do it well.
Thank you for correcting me. It wasn't that it came easy, but you were just good at the whole school thing.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I was. I consider myself smart, but I'm not really a school person, which is why when you said you want to get your doctorate, I was like, well, let's do it together. And then I was like,
hey,
I really want to do it though.
I don't want to do it, but I do want to do it. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do my master's. I hated every day having to come, you work all day, then you got to come home and write a paper or do a project. But when you're done, it was just like, oh my God, I did it.
Yeah. I haven't even done that, but that's okay, because we're gonna make it through this with or without those letters after our names. I think that I have a master's level of experience, right?
Right.
I just have to like formalize it and turn it into somebody and give them my money, right? Anyway.
No, Dr. Gather, she was telling me she knows some free programs. She knows a free doctorate program. So I was like, let me know.
Oh,
right.
We need to look into that. So tell me a little bit about your favorite teacher and why. And this can be at any level.
Miss Anderson, my third grade teacher. I had her for third and fourth grade. She was my first Black teacher also. And she really got me. She was my first teacher that made me write my whole name. So up until this point, I'm just writing Shmara, Shmara. And when I got to her class, she was like, no, you're writing your whole name, which I said is 17 letters. So she was the first teacher that made me write my whole name. And when I think about it, I was like, because I used to be embarrassed of my name because it was long and they can't pronounce it. But she actually made me like prideful, like that's your name.
I love it.
So, and then she just made me fall in love with reading. Like, I'm an avid reader. And I remember my first novel was Charlotte's Web. Loved it, read it in her class, and then just been reading ever since. But I loved Miss Anderson.
Wow. I love that. I love that she gave you that, pride in your name. Like, say your whole name and make sure everybody else says it too. That's lovely, because I know too many teachers from my time that were like, make it easy for me.
Right.
And I'm like, that's crazy. Are you, I'm not going to ask you to tell me your age, but I remember a time when we used to take those tests, those standardized tests, and you used to have to bubble in.
I never had enough space.
Right. Like, you got to, like, what letter of Francesca did you have to stop?
It would always either stop right at the C or the T.
Oh, wow. So for those of you who aren't old enough to know what we're talking about, we used to have these Scantron sheets.
Green Scantron.
Right. They were green and whatever. And they had, like, for each number, there would be like all the bubbles of the choices that you would have. And you would just have to bubble in your answer. Right. And at the very, very top, there was no barcode at the time. There was nothing like a QR code, but you had to like put your actual name. And for those who had a really long name, a lot of times there wouldn't be enough spaces. So you'd get like a cut off piece of their name. So she didn't get quite through Francesca of the Shmarafrantcheska. So.
But luckily my maiden last name was Smith. So that was like, right. So okay. I was like, hey, Smith.
But bubbling in your first name, it was a lot.
Yes.
Okay. So what brought you to the profession?
I feel like the profession fell on me, rather I was seeking it. I went to college. I wanted to be a pediatric surgeon. Got to organic chem and was like, this is not for me. And then went on and I was like, you know what? I want to be a nurse practitioner. So it's on the lines of becoming a doctor, but not as intense. I don't have to go to medical school. And so got that, had my son. So took a break from college. Then we moved and I went back and got my associate's degree in health management and information systems. This whole time, I was working in a Montessori school. I was babysitting a severe boy with autism. It was my mom's good friend and her son. He couldn't keep a babysitter. I babysat him, loved him. And then we moved. I became a paraprofessional for SPED. Loved it. I was an adaptive PE assistant. So I'm always working with like the special needs population just because I loved it, but didn't really want to be a teacher because of the money. And then one year, I'm a para in Florida, and I had a teacher who I fell in love with, Miss Rasner, and I loved her teaching style. And she was a K1 SPED teacher, and I just loved it. And we were talking, and she said she actually stepped down from it. She was like in fashion in New York City, like huge job, and didn't feel fulfilled, and changed her career to teaching. And then that's when I had like my aha moment. It's not about the money, and I loved what I do. And I was like, oh my God, I actually love it. I'm a para. And I just loved it. And so I redirected and was like, okay, I'm going to go into teaching.
I love that, because it's like I accidentally fell into the profession as well.
Right.
I didn't grow up thinking this, and not necessarily because I knew how little money we made, but I didn't think I had the patience.
Right.
And I'm so surprised by
I just didn't see myself as a teacher.
Yeah.
Even though up until that point I was doing everything.
That's so interesting. So you fell into it because you really enjoyed babysitting that child
Oh my God, loved it.
Oh wow.
Loved it.
It's so amazing how the experiences that we go through put us in places where we accidentally find what our purpose is. That's amazing. So I love the story of how you got here. And like right now, things are crazy.
Ooh.
We don't know what's about to happen. We don't know if we're going to be impacted because the Department of Education doesn't necessarily impact us directly. However, there's a who knows, right? So with all of that and with all of the things, we talk a lot about how you have really high roster numbers of kids.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? So that's a challenge. Sometimes your paraprofessionals are out ill or have some kind of whatever, right? And so, it's a challenging job. And I know we run into each other in the hallways and we're both just like, right? So what keeps you here in this profession?
Oh, see, I feel like that is a tug and pull because there are days where I'm like, I am on my last reserve nerve. My nerve is gone.
Right.
But I think a lot of it isn't necessarily the students. It's the politics. It's OUSD. I love the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love what I do. If I can remove all the adults, politics, policies, I would love it. And I think that's what keeps me, especially when I have a child with autism who's nonverbal. And by the end of the year, I have him saying a sentence, or a student that comes in, can't write his name. And by the end of the year is writing the entire alphabet. It's those little things that I find rewarding.
I love that. So you've alluded a bit to your current role. Can you tell us a little bit about your day job?
Yes, I am a special education teacher. And I work with mod to extensive needs students. And this is a first for me because in Florida, they're all in one class. So it's like you have mild to extensive, which kind of makes, I feel like a little bit easier, where I just have moderate to, I just have the ladder.
Wow. I didn't even think about it that way because I would have thought that having a smaller, more concentrated population would make it easier. But you're saying it's the other way.
Because I like to use maybe the higher students to model for the other ones. And then and so you can pull them to actually teach the kids, but this way it's just extensive. So I have to find different ways to get, modeling. That's why I do inclusion. I'll invite the mild moderate kids to come in, or last year Miss Balbuena's students would come and play with my kids. And so we have lunch with kindergarten. So they are able to get inclusion with general ed.
I love that. So they have buddies,
yes.
peers that come in and hang out with them. I love that. Because a lot of times, our population of students that isn't the inclusion students.
Right.
When do they have the opportunity to meet with the gen ed students, and where the gen ed students get to learn about, special needs students, right? So
special needs.
I think oftentimes
they do have special needs. They have different needs. They're not handicapped. They're not disabled. No, they're not. Everyone is fully functioning.
Right.
They just have special needs. They're mental. They just have a different mental capacity.
Right. And it's interesting because I'm one of those high functioning, self-diagnosed ADHD people.
Oh, me too. I know I'm neurodivergent.
Yeah. And it wasn't until I was grown that I'm sitting here in a group of folks talking about what our challenges are. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's me. So all this time I've grown up thinking there's something wrong with me, when it was just, I had a different way of learning. And so it has made my shoulders drop. It has made me feel much more like I wasn't, I don't like to say the word failure because I never looked at it that way, but I definitely always had a different path. I always felt like I was smart, but I didn't have, a huge high GPA. I didn't get through college in 4 years, those
I
kinds
didn't
of
get through in 4.
Hello.
Graduate summa cum laude.
I mean, hey, and let me tell you, I don't even want to tell you how long I was in college. However,
life happens.
The very last quarter I was in college, I was on the dean's list, or the very last year, I think.
Oh, I didn't get my bachelor's till 2020. It was COVID.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Are you that much younger than I am?
No, I think we're the same.
Oh, okay.
I'm class of 97.
Got it. Well, no. That's cute. I'm class of 85. Thank you very much.
Oh,
I am 12 whole years older than you. Okay.
Well, you look good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So you talked about your favorite teacher. Are there any other main influences in where you are today in education?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I look back and I've never hated a teacher, but when I look back in my career of going to education, not necessarily college, but I can remember maybe only having 2 African-American teachers, one in elementary school and one in high school.
Wow.
And so it's just, I mean, I had Mr. Brandis, my avid teacher, loved him, but it wasn't like an academic class. It was like something where it was kids of color. We can come together and learn about college, prepare. And I did enjoy that class.
So it was nice having a teacher who looked back at you and looked like you.
Right.
I mean, looked like representative.
I didn't realize how important it was until I'm that teacher. And I realized like, wow, I didn't have that representation growing up. And I see how important it is for kids of color, just minorities, to be like, look, that's someone that looks like me.
Okay. So you didn't really, it wasn't like an awareness that you had of something missing.
You go to a typically white school, elementary, middle school, it's not something you think about because you're just already immersed in that. And then when you leave it, Burkhalter is majority Black. I was like, wow, like this is when I started as a parent in Atlanta, it was majority. And first it was a culture shock because I was like, I've always been in a predominantly white school. I loved it.
Oh, wow. Was there something specific? Like, can you tell me about a time when you're like, this is good stuff right here? Like
Black History Month. It's more celebrated, especially like I was at Love T. Nolan in Atlanta. The way they celebrated Black History Month, I was like, this is new to me.
Right.
We had a production, the hallways, everyone's decorating their door. Right. It was just, it was huge, where other schools before, it was just like, here's a paper sheet, here's a work assignment. Like, they celebrated the whole month.
Right. And there was only a handful that you got of Black history like that.
Right. My last 2 years in Florida, I was at a predominantly white school. And for Black History Month, I made a huge portrait of a woman and I did a 3D afro on my door. I got pushback for it.
What did they have the nerve to tell you there?
One lady was like, why is that on your door? And I'm like, it's Black History Month. It's a Black woman. And then I left it on and they're like, Black History Month is over. Right. I look back and realized how many microaggressions I put up with that. Oh,
get out of here. That's nuts. See, I think I take for granted that, I have spent most of my life in California. Right. And trust, it's not all over California, but the places that I've lived, I feel much more safe.
Yes.
When I didn't, I moved, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the places where I feel like I can, I'm not going to forever be on the receiving end of all this racial trauma. There's so much.
Right. And even though I went to predominantly, I felt, I don't know, California, we're a little more tolerant. We're a little more open-minded.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Because let me tell you, the last 2 jobs I had prior to coming back into a school, I was like, whoa, okay, this is interesting, because here are people that are saying that they are a certain way and they're absolutely the opposite. And I'm like, it just really shined a light on what performative allyship is, right? And I'm just like, you're doing it wrong. Right. So you talked about how your students progress and how far they get while they're with you is a joyful experience. What else brings you joy? It doesn't have to be in education. It can just be.
Oh, my sons bring me joy.
Oh, tell me how old they are.
15 and 19.
Oh, wow.
And they're just extremely just open-minded and non-judgmental, and we nerd out. So I mean, my 15-year-old will ask me to come hang out in his room with him. I'm like, how many teenage boys are asking their mom to come hang out? And I'll hang out on the bed and we'll watch anime.
I
My
love
oldest
it.
is teaching me how to play this new Pokemon video game. I mean, I have an anime shirt on. We play Mario Kart. So yeah.
That's dope. I didn't get my parent
I'm a
report
nerd.
card. I didn't get my parent report card that I was cool enough to hang out with till my sons were grown, out of college. Right. And then our relationship kind of morphed. And, you know, I just feel like I love where I am with them now. So your sons bring you joy. That's so, my
husband had to point that out because, you know, he was like, not all kids are asking their moms to hang out with them. And I was like, what?
Right.
I was like, you're probably right.
Right. Let me tell you, when I first, I think they were still in high school, I think. And I would see, like, you know, young boys around who, okay, not boys, young men around who they love their mama. Like, I can imagine your sons that want to hang out with you are. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, you don't want to hang out with me, but now they do. And it's like such a great feeling, how that has changed. So the point of Inside the Teacher Studio is to really celebrate the creativity and artistry of educators. And that doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, you have the most beautiful displays, like the way you show your students' work, and, you know, you take great pride in your classroom environment. That's part of it, right? But it's also in this environment where we're operating in a very oppressive system, I think. Still, right? It's doing exactly what it was made to do. There's sometimes when we're like, okay, I don't agree with that, but I'm still gonna, like, you know, fly under the radar. I'd rather ask for forgiveness and permission myself, right? Can you tell me about a time when you demonstrated artistry or you had to get creative in your craft?
I hate our curriculum. I hate it. It's a brand new curriculum they're bringing in. Each town, and it works. I see where it goes, but I feel like for my class, more on the extensive needs, we're not there yet. And I've brought that up to them, and they're like, okay, well, we can do task boxes. So it's these little boxes with tasks. I was like, we're not going to do that. I still want them to learn to read, but not with the curriculum. So what I have done, I made a literate box for certain books. This month we're doing If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Last month we did Brown Bear. And I take the book, I adapt it, so I will print it out, make little Velcro pictures so they can do, I get it bounded at Office Depot. I find worksheets and everything. And I, for that whole month, made a curriculum off of that book.
Wow. What makes you choose certain books?
I know books they love. And then some books for the vocabulary. So like with If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, they're learning about a glass of milk, a broom, a mop. I didn't realize some of these kids don't know what a mop is. Refrigerator, pen. Brown Bear, they're learning about animals and colors. Next month, we're doing the Hungry Caterpillar. So it's days of the weeks, but it's also we can learn the life cycle of a butterfly.
Right. Okay.
And then I incorporate it with speech. So Miss Sarah, instead of having her pull the kids and work with them, she pushes in and we do like a small group rotation, and she does the book that I'm doing for the month. And I've even incorporated on their AAC device. So they have a little talking device and I put them on there.
Got it. So how do you feel when you veer off the curriculum? Like what?
As long as my babies are learning and they show improvement and I have the data to show it, that's all that matters.
I love it. I think that a lot of times people are, I don't know, they've had their scores thrown in their face. They've been shamed. They've been, you know, told that they aren't doing it right. And it's like, after a while, I think that wears us down, right?
It does.
Our confidence and our, like you said, I'm doing this because XYZ, right? And here's the results.
My last district was performance pay. You got paid on how well the scores were and how you were evaluated.
Get out of here. Did they have curricula that you had to use?
For the SPED, it wasn't as strict as the like a whole set curriculum, but they did have a curriculum you could throw in there. But yeah, It was performance pay. So if you had exceeds like above, I think you got like a $2,500 added to your salary. If you just got normal, it was like a $1,500, and it was just below, you didn't get nothing.
Wow. That's nuts.
And so that's why people want to cheat on the test or teach to the test, because it's performance pay. I'm just
wow.
Yeah.
So the people that did well weren't necessarily
great teachers. Their students tested well.
Whew, that would drive me nuts. That would drive me nuts. Do you feel like in our current district that you have to justify those choices to anyone?
No.
Okay. So they pretty much
feel like I have a wonderful principal, and if she sees the data and the children's growing, and if she sees that they're happy, she's going to back us up. I love our principal. She's more about the whole child instead of just scores.
Talk about creativity. That one right there.
Right.
I love how she is so confident in who she is and who she is as an educator, and really, really loves our students, to where she and her little group, right? It's always about a nice, what do they call it? Oh gosh, why can I not find my words? Something mass, critical mass.
Yes.
She has a critical mass of colleagues, and they will find a way to make stuff happen. And so I can't wait to have her on. So you hear that talk together? You need to be on.
And I brought her name up outside of Burkhalter, and everyone is like, "Oh, she's a great principal." And I was like, "That's my principal."
Everybody knows her, right?
Right.
I love it. Okay. So this is a question that sometimes when I ask this question, people aren't sure how to answer it. So I want you to think about, we often are called heroes or superheroes, right?
Yes.
What would you say is your superpower?
Oh, patience.
Oh.
I think my husband thinks I'm too patient, but I know it's patience, because people come in my class and I might have a student screaming. I might have another student over on the floor doing, I don't know what he's doing, but he's living his best life. But I might have another student like on a chair, and I'm able to just be like, I don't know. Some people already are like, what is going on? No, he's over here playing. He's screaming because he's upset and doesn't know how to verbalize it. And the one on the chair just needs some sensory time. Maybe I'm too patient, but you can't let every little thing,
I don't see how you can have too much patience as an educator. I think we could all
need more,
right?
We're not too quick to yell.
Right. I love our little friend who gets jealous.
Oh, yes.
I'll come in the room and he's like, get away from her.
Right. I call him my man. He does not want no one to talk to me. Right. I start talking to somebody else, he's going to start pulling my hand.
Exactly. Right. So
that makes me feel good, because I know he loves me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So before we get to the end of our conversation, I wanted you to let us know, how can folks get in touch with you if they wanted to follow up with you, or they heard something that you do that they want to know more about?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Francesca. You can find me on Facebook, but I'm not really on there. I keep it open because I have contacts with my family in Guatemala.
Right.
And so my mom, her profile's still on there, and she passed, so I have all my pictures. But if you hit me up on Facebook, it's gonna be a minute. I'm not on there. It's a little too racist for me.
Girl.
But I am on Instagram, and I'm working on it. My goal is to have an LLC of education consulting for special needs autism.
Ooh.
And I got my name. I want to call it Teach, Play, Learn.
Post this. You need to go on Google and get those domains.
Eat, Pray, Love. So Teach, Play, Learn, because I teach and I believe kids learn through play, and we can always learn something off of autism. I don't know. I
love it. What audience or where would you operate out of?
I haven't gotten there yet. That's
okay.
But I would like to be like, I could either serve as an advocate for families that don't know how to do an IEP and they need to, or I can go into a teacher's room that needs to know how to set up her classroom for a SPED class, or if I can help someone come up with visuals or a schedule, just a full consulting for everything SPED autism.
One thing that I wish I would have had more of, and you can still teach me because it's never too late to learn, is that, God knows how long ago my teaching credential program was. A long time ago. And I just don't remember ever getting, if we got any kind of support for special needs students, it was pretty much there. And maybe a Wednesday PD, maybe. But I feel like, as a teacher who, had kids that would come into my classroom, right? I had this one class one year, it was 6th grade. And I had, so the AAMA program, the African American Male Achievers Program, was one of the electives at this middle school. So there was a big group of young Black men.
I made my son take that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they offer it at Skyline as an elective. So I was like, nope, you're taking this.
So that's a semester class, right?
Yeah.
So the following semester, they all traveled as a cohort, right? And so I had a design class. So they took my design class. And so I had 18 Black young men, and I had 6 or 7 girls. And then I had, I want to say, 4 to 6 students on the spectrum. And I remember wanting I don't know what her role was at the school because she didn't have her own class, but I needed her to come in because I was like, I don't know how to get these kids who've never been around young people, like we talked about earlier in the conversation, right? They've never been around kids, and they want to tease them, and they want to call them names, and they want to say yada, yada, yada. And it's because they haven't had any exposure. So I had to have somebody come in and do a presentation or some kind of a learning experience because I didn't know how to have that conversation. I didn't know how to facilitate that thinking. So I absolutely think that is needed. And I
still think that is needed.
And I can't wait for you to
I've had to have little conversations with some of the teachers at our school about
absolutely
they're getting onto my student. I'm like, he doesn't know.
Right. And just the intolerance, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you for sharing that project that you are developing as
it's a goal. I need help, but I have the vision. I just don't know how to go about. Yeah.
Okay, I might have somebody to put you in touch with.
Yay!
My executive coach is the best.
Oh, yes.
So many breakthroughs that I had with her. Shout out Estrella Dawson. Yay. And I think that, when you have a project and you're not quite sure where to go, having somebody coach you through that, I think is huge. So I'll put you in touch with her.
Yes.
So at the end of every conversation, I have a set of about 10 questions that I ask as a nod to that show that this came from inside the Actor Studio. And so where you feel comfortable answering, please do so. And where you don't, just pass. Okay. All right.
For everything. Hopefully not TMI, but
hey, you know what? You can let me know. All right. So what is your favorite word?
Puta.
Love it.
For me, it's a term of endearment. Like I call my sister, she's my puta. And it's so funny. As soon as she calls me, I'm like, hey, puta, ¿cómo estás? Now my sons make fun of me. Like I'll answer the phone and they're saying it before I even get, but
my God.
She is my puta. I'm her puta. I love it.
Hey, that is too much. I love it. What's your least favorite word?
Trump.
Whew. I got so many words for him.
Yes,
And
guess. I hate when someone's like, guess. No, freaking tell me. I'm not gonna get it. I hate guess. Oh, guess. You should guess. No, tell me. I hate it.
I love it. It is pretty asinine, right? It's so many things I could answer right now. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I think so much. Even the smallest thing, you could just be sitting there and something be like, oh my gosh, just so much. Like if you look at my YouTube, it's just random stuff that I'm just like, oh, I like this. Like interior design. I like reading. just so much sets me off. Sometimes even my students inspire me.
Oh, wow. Okay. What turns you off?
Rudeness.
Mm.
I cannot stand a rude person.
Okay, this next question, I'm not sure if you were answering in the first question that I asked, but what's your favorite curse word?
Motherfucker.
But let me tell you, that is probably the most occurring answer in the 10 episodes.
It's a toss-up though, because it could be that one or it could be bitch. You have to say it just like that.
Yeah, right. Have you seen that? Was it Keenan and Peele that did that one? Where
yes.
And they're like, bitch.
Just like that.
Oh, what sound or noise do you love?
I'm a hippie and I just love hearing birds and like the ocean, and I'll even play it in the background in the classroom, like just nature sounds. It just, but so at nighttime, sometimes I will watch like, oh, my nerd's coming out, like ASMR, like stationary journaling. I just like the paper and the
right. Oh my gosh, I did not even realize that was something you liked. Okay, what sound or noise do you hate?
Ooh. What do I hate to hear? Oh, I won't even say it because you're gonna do it. I hate when people chatter their teeth. Like when they
grind their teeth?
They make that, they like chomp their teeth and it's like you can hear it clicking.
Why do they do that?
Like that? What? Oh, it makes my teeth hurt. My son, like,
You know what I respond to that? Like, I have that same response when somebody tries to crease a piece of paper with their fingernails.
Oh,
it's almost as bad as nails on a chalkboard to me.
Oh, I do forgot.
It makes my teeth hurt.
Yeah, it makes my teeth hurt when it's like the teeth sound. Ooh.
Yes. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would love to be a professional ballet dancer.
Ooh, have you ever been a dancer?
I've been a dancer. I've never done point. And then I love the Nutcracker. I love watching ballet. I love Alvin Ailey. I love dance.
I do too. I don't know that I'm really a ballet aficionado. I don't know that I could hold up my whole person on my toes on point. But
that's what I'm saying. That's something I don't think I can do it now.
Right, but that's something you're like, oh, I want to be a ballerina.
Or a neurosurgeon.
Oh, okay. What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be the person that has to like transport and clean the porta potties. Know someone has to do that.
Wait.
No one ever thinks of that. When you go to a concert and there's a bunch of porta potties, someone has to remove it.
No, thank you. You're right. And what was that movie where Chevy Chase was in the movie and he was behind the porta potties and it like
tipped?
What was it?
No, the porta potty tipped.
Yeah, and like there was like this radioactive waste that came at him and it was just crazy. Oh, I can't. If an afterlife exists, what would you like to hear your maker say when you arrive?
You did good.
Love it. First of all, thank you for being the first teacher from Bird Culture to be on my program. And I'm hoping for those of you that are watching that you'll join us soon.
Just me though, favorite sound or noise. This is where I'm like, we might be TMI. Me and my son love fart noises.
Oh my God.
So
do you actually like farting or you just like the noises?
There's this video he sent me and I think we watched it like 10 times over and over, but it's like people farting in like quiet areas or in church.
Get out of here.
And we like you're in church and you hear the preacher and you hear a little poo, like burr.
Stop it. This is like a series of videos. Is this what this is? Let me tell you, I'm so traumatized because everyone in my family enjoyed farting on one another. And because they knew I couldn't stand it, they came for me. Like,
oh, I don't want you to fart on me. I just think it's funny when it's the fart noise.
Oh my God. And then I would be in I'd be in a meeting and I'm like, you couldn't tell me to just hold your nose, don't breathe. Like, if I let one slip, it's like, don't breathe. And then one day I reached into my bag and I smelled something horrible and I was like, And everyone's like, no, you did not. I was like, yes, I did, because I don't need to smell that. I don't. Anyway,
working with kids with autism, they are unaware. So you're just in here all day in class, like, and they just keep working. Like, I'm like, you just farted.
I once saw this post on Instagram where the person's sitting there meditating, and they're like, don't ever hold in a fart, because then they travel up to your head, and that's where shitty ideas come from.
I'm gonna use that from now on.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I don't know why I was so nervous.
I don't either, because we just chatting over here. You can't see anybody looking, but they're out there watching. But yeah, thank you for coming on, and we need to look at all those programs together.
Right. Anything to bring awareness to special education. I'm going to be there.
Absolutely. So if you're somebody who is a gen ed teacher and you're not quite sure, what is it that, maybe you're reacting a certain way to some students, and you're like, wait, let me interrogate that.
Right.
They're not aware of whatever it is that you think that you're having a power struggle about. Right. And so that power struggle is in your head.
It's in your head.
Right. Or if you have students that maybe aren't so sure, what's going on with this one student in the class, this is somebody you want to hit up. You want to hit up a special ed teacher who is able to share what is it that you're seeing that's not quite right, or hold a mirror up or shine a light on something. Shmarafrantcheska Mitchell is your girl.
Yes. I've helped some at our school recently. I've made them token economies to help with children, behaviors. One teacher, she was having a behavior. I was like, well, what does she like to do? We'll build a token economy and have her work for that reward. And so I made it for her, gave her the little stars.
Conversation. Yes. But anyway, till next time, again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Inside the Teacher Studio on YouTube. And until next time, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.